Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. For anyone's new here, my name is That British Dude, and we are on Jen's modded server. We are playing Decked Out 2. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Decked Out 2, let me give you a quick lowdown. This is a dungeon running game built by Tango Tech from the Season 9 Hermitcraft server. This thing is incredibly complex. The redstone alone is enough to give you a migraine. However, this is an incredibly fun game, and the guys on the Kinship SMP decided that this is what we were going to do for the next modded series. Now, whilst this is a bit of an interim thing of us going in between Cobblemon, which was the last modded server that we did, going into the next one, we just thought this would be a little bit of fun. Now, the reason why I'm filming this is because I've seen Lord Vic do a few runs on camera, and I want to show you guys what I've been doing and how far I've got so far. If you haven't seen Lord Vic's videos on Decked Out, I will link them below. I highly recommend going watching them. They're really funny. But without further ado, let's jump into the first run of the day. So the first thing that we do is take our frozen shard, which is our key to the dungeon, and we pop it in this barrel here. This will open up the door. Now, the opening sequence to this door is insane. Watch this. How cool was that? So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we have set our spawn point in there. Sleep in the bed, remove all gear. We make sure we don't have any gear on at all. And then we select our difficulty. Now, I've most of the time been doing hard runs, but I'm just going to do a medium one today, just to kind of give you guys an overview of how to run this thing. So here we have our deck, and our deck has a bunch of different cards in it. Now, as you can see, I've got quite a lot of cards in this deck. You normally do start with 2 treasure hunters, 2 sneaks, and something else I can't remember exactly. And maybe an ember seeker. And the more runs you do, the more frost embers that you'll collect, and the more frost embers that you do collect, the better cards that you could potentially buy at the end, provided of course you actually get out alive. So we're going to take this deck, and then we're going to pop it onto that light there, and then it puts it into the system, and then the system will then draw these cards at random and play them for different buffs throughout the dungeon run. However, first we're just going to go back through here, and I'm going to get myself full saturation with health. It's a little hack that is actually allowed to be done, and the Hermits did this when they were playing Decked Out 2 on the actual server. You just damage yourself on this bush enough, like that. So I've lost half a heart, and you'll see my hunger will go down a smidge, and I can eat. Now, that is perfectly legal, that's perfectly okay. Tango's obviously okayed that, but I have no more food on me. However, in this, you can buy these what's called ethereal cards, and one of them is called Pork Chop Power, where it'll drop 2 pork chop at the start of the run. Ethereal cards can only be used once. You will never get these back, so you've got to be very careful about how you use these. So we place the deck here. I love the sound effects of this place. Awesome. And we jump in this car, hit the button, and off we go. That scared me the very first time that came up. Oh. Okay, so we have our compass, we have our map, and we also should have... There we go. 2 pork chop. Now, unfortunately, we don't actually have somebody on the map area, so the map isn't going to be very useful to us, but we can still run this dungeon without it. Now, you notice there was a Ravager at the start there. He is stuck. There's not really much incentive for us to actually free him up, but maybe we'll do at some point. So you'll hear that heartbeat in the background. That is how much clank we have generated. The slower the heartbeat, the better. The faster it gets, the more in trouble we are. Now there is another Ravager up there, so I've got to be very careful. I might try and draw him back down this way. You can see a frost ember already on the floor there. Okay. Oh, you hear that shrieker that's just gone off there? That means I've just generated clank. Which is not good, but unfortunately that's part and parcel of the game. That's why you got to sneak as much as you possibly can. So, now I've led him out there. I've got a little bit of an easier shot at getting the treasure. So there. That is 1 frost ember. So the idea of going through this is that this compass is going to show you where to go to get your artifact, which is going to get you, depending on how far into the dungeon you go, an artifact which has a nominated amount of frost embers that you'll get at the end of a successful run. Obviously, the further into the dungeon you go, the more frost embers you'll get, and the better cards you can potentially buy. So Tread Lightly is going to get me some nice hazard block. Hazard is like blockages throughout the dungeon, so this is actually one here. So if this door was to shut, I will no longer be able to get through this way, and I have to go another way where there's more perils. So you have to be very, very careful about where you go. So if I throw this key into here, currently we're on level 1, and then we are going to go down to level 2. Now, you can see the compass is pointing in this kind of direction. It's not until you've run this dungeon a few times that you kind of get used to where certain things are. And I'm pretty confident that I know where this one's going to be. But this is entirely going to depend on where these Ravagers are. So this is why we've got to be really careful. This section here is another hazard block. At the moment it's down, so we're absolutely fine. But if that was to go up, that makes our lives so much more difficult. So at this point now, we've just got to follow this compass to wherever it will spin back around. This is why you really got to pay attention to the compass. Ah, set off another Shrieker. And I think it's going to be over here. Ah, see, it's just spun back round there. Here we go. Oh, there's another frost ember there. So if I drop that down, I then get an artifact, the Hidden Stash. Yes. So you'll notice that that has got a number 30 next to its name. That means I'll get 30 frost embers out of this artifact, which is brilliant. Now, if I'm feeling a little bit more brave, I can potentially go and have a look around for some more frost embers. I think I've got a little bit of clank block in the system. Oh! Ah! See, that is a problem. Oh, oh no, he's still coming after me. I've got to be really careful. Oh, see, that was unfortunate, but yes, we managed to get away from him. See, I would have liked to have gone around the dungeon a little bit more, but it's just not worth it sometimes. The more time you spend in there, the more dangerous it is, and the more chance of dying and not having a successful run. So, back up to level 1. Hit the button to get out. Now again, we've got to make sure that we are careful in where we're going. I find it easier to kind of wrangle the Ravagers on the first level. So, like I said, we have to be very careful about trying to find out where they are. But there are some loot spots knocking around, which is where I want to try and hunt for some more. There we go. So another frost ember there. Weirdly enough, we've not actually come across any tokens there, any other bits of treasure, any like crowns and stuff, or coins, which is kind of strange. Now I reckon he's going to be around here somewhere. Ooh, we've got to be very careful because there's usually a Ravager up here somewhere. Sprint. Oh, sprint, that's a nice little buff. Oh, there he is. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that. Wow, that was lucky. If I didn't have that sprint then, I very well could have died. Oh dear. See, this is what I mean. Even though I've been running this dungeon a lot and I know where everything is, you still every now and again can just get stuck. Oh, there we go. There's one coin. There's another coin. And another coin. We're doing alright for coins. Alright. There's the other Ravager. He wants to come back up this way. Now, we could go straight out, but I'm kind of feeling a little bit more lucky. Although, that probably wasn't the smartest choice. Yeah. I've actually just kind of made myself a little bit stuck here. Let's try this again, shall we?
Reckless charge.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to get this done. No. So Reckless Charge is one of those cards that giveth and taketh away. So if you manage to set off a Shrieker within 8 seconds of Reckless Charge playing, it gives you a ton of Frost Embers. But unfortunately I didn't set one off then, so I was a little bit unlucky there. But I think we're going to have to call it there. There's another drop there, but yeah, I think that's going to be a successful run. I'm quite happy with that. Didn't get to use my pork chop, which is kind of a good thing. It's there as a bit of a fail-safe, but I didn't really need it. So all in all, I think that is a pretty successful run. So we jump down here, and then we relinquish our artifact to the hole. Relinquish your artifact. So if you got out but didn't actually get your artifact, you have to take the walk of shame. The path of the coward. Luckily, I've never, ever had to do that, so I'm really happy with that. So when this comes through, we go into this antechamber, which I absolutely love, and so press this button here for your official artifact. See if you want to start collecting them. They're just such a good idea. Okay, so what do we have here? Typically, I think it's 4 cards that pop up, so you don't get to choose from all of them, but we've got a Loot and Scoot, which is 20 Frost Embers. We have Sprint for 30 Frost Embers, and over here is some of like the really rare ones, but these cost too much, I can't buy these, but we got Swagger. So that's plus 10 treasure, plus 10 Frost Embers, but you have to shuffle 2 Stumble cards into your deck. Stumble cards are the ones that give you Clank. So basically they make that heartbeat just go a little bit faster each time. So, like I say, these cards give us and taketh away, but that's a very good card. Actually, I would be very happy to have that one. And then for 58 Frost Embers, we have Cold Snap. So it's going to give you 3 hazard. So that's not hazard block, that's going to put more hazard into the dungeon. And for the next 3 cards played, any Frost Ember drops will be doubled. That is awesome. So for instance, if you played that card, and then you had an ethereal card, the pay to win, that would be 20 Frost Embers that would drop. That's absolutely incredible. But we've got these other ones here as well. So there's like Ember Seeker, which gives you 2 Frost Embers. Sneak gives you 2 Clank block. Stability, 2 hazard block. Treasure Hunter is plus 4 treasure. And then this Moment of Clarity, which is actually an ethereal card. You can see it says there, ethereal. This is a one-time use. So if you buy one of these and then you put it into your deck, it goes back into the system afterwards. You do not get this card back. But honestly, I think this is a very underrated card. It's 2 Clank block, 2 hazard block, 4 treasure, and 2 Frost Embers. So that is a great card. And you can have up to 5 of them in your deck at once. That's what that number at the top there means. However, for the purposes of today, I think I'm probably going to go for... This is a tough choice. Do I go for Loot and Scoot, where I could potentially get a lot more treasure out of it, but that's only 15 seconds of run speed? Or do I go for Sprint, which is 60 seconds of run speed? Bearing in mind, Sprint just saved my ass. I really don't know. And I actually, weirdly enough, can't remember what's in my deck. How many of each of those cards I've got? That's a very good question. I think for the time being, I'm going to go for Loot and Scoot, which is 20 Frost Embers. So, do 20. And then we'll do a Moment of Clarity, I think. So that is 6. Now, I can't get any of the others because I'm already maxed out on all of these. And I also have to be careful about how many other cards I'm starting to use now because you can use a maximum of 40 cards at once. Now, the last thing to mention are these Victory Tomes. And this is something that we are going to be doing at some point very soon. I've actually got a couple of these already. But essentially, you can buy these Victory Tomes as a token of how well you've done in the dungeon. And essentially, this is kind of the scoring system, if you like. So the more of these that you've got, the better chances you have of winning and being crowned the decked out 2 champion. Well, the kinship version anyway. But once we've done that, we then put our remaining decked out coins into there. And it's 4 coins to make 1 crown. So unfortunately I had 6, so I'm only going to get 1 crown out of that, and the other 2 go back into the system. That sound there says I've got 1 crown. And then we fall down here, and this is the other interesting bit. Let's see if we can do it. There's a button. Oh! Oh no! Didn't quite make it. There is a door there, and that's a little extra, you know, a little bit of a nugget sort of thing that Tango put in for people who think they can wrangle the Ravagers. But yes, anyway, all of our stuff ends up back in here, so we can take all of this stuff. Like I say, that's the loot and scoot, moment of clarity, and the crown, plus our deck and our artifact. So that was a successful medium run, and I'm really happy with how that went, and the fact that we got quite a lot of Frost Embers out there. I can now add these cards to my deck, and it should make the next run just that little bit easier. But that's just about do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much again, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.